this is a woman's job to do and that only simps do simple household chores. The husband needs to go. Is your husband's best friend secretly obsessed with your husband's ex? Is it petty? Maybe. But is it satisfying? Immensely. Hey guys, I'm V and welcome to today's episode. Now, when it comes to this time of the year, I start thinking about lessons. Things that I should probably learn from my mistakes and not do again next year. Things I do want to bring next year. Already, I know one thing I really want to bring in, and you guys will need to help me convince my fiance that we should leave the Christmas tree up for the backdrop. I mean, you guys have mentioned you love seeing it. I too love seeing it. I think we should leave it until maybe at least I'll aim for before Valentine's Day. How about that, guys? I mean, you're enjoying it. I'm enjoying it. So help me maybe petition with M, my fiance, that we should leave it in the backdrop. So that's one thing I'm definitely bringing into the new year. And before we start the episode, I want to ask you guys, what are your resolutions? Have you thought of them? What are you trying to bring in? I think when it comes to next year, I am very reflective. There's some things I'm thinking, okay, I learned my lesson this year. Let's not do that next year. But as today's topic and theme suggests, not everyone learns the lesson the easy way. And sometimes people need consequences to smack them in the face to get through it. So I hope that gives you a little bit of a sneak peek into the crazy and chaotic Reddit stories we have today. So let's get into today's episode. Our first story is from the subreddit aita. Am I the a-hole for teaching my son a lesson and throwing him out after he said household chores are a woman's job? I already have some thoughts here, but I'm going to hold them. I'm going to hold them until we get into it. OP says, oh, and by the way, if you guys don't know what OP is, for my non-Redditors that are listening in, OP is just the name we call original poster, right? Or origin poster? No, I feel like it's original poster. M's nodding, so I think I'm on the right track. OP says, throwaway account as my son knows my real one and I want some advice. I, 34-year-old male, got a 16-year-old son with my ex, 34-year-old female. We had our son way too early in life. We lived on the same street growing up and knew each other from school. We fooled around sometimes and the rest is history. Okay, talk about a romantic meet cute, I guess. OP says, I'm ashamed to say, but both our parents have been exceptionally controlling in both our lives up until the divorce, and both my ex and me were too much of a pushover to do anything about it. When they learned she was pregnant, they forced us to get married. They told me they want her as a stay-at-home mom and me to work. My ex and I, we hated each other for our stolen lives. We were never cruel to one another, and I've never displayed any hatred in our house for our son's sake. But we slept in different bedrooms and avoided each other as much as we could. We split up after I caught her cheating, which finally made us both able to break off the chains of control both our parents had over us and get divorced 2 years ago. Now everything is very good between us, and I even consider her a friend, now that she's no longer my wife. And credit where credit is due, she was, however, a remarkable homemaker and an amazing mother. Now, I'm going to stop here real quick because, so very interestingly, Obi put cheating in quotations, but the way he talks about it, I don't think his ex-wife actually cheated. I think they had some sort of mutual agreement based on what OP is describing here, and they just kind of lived their separate lives despite co-parenting in the same household for their son. So, I mean, if it works, it works, and it seems like that was what helped them finally able to shake off the control from the parents and able to be a reason for divorce, I'm guessing. Now, OP says, when we divorced, I had to learn all of this on my own. It was the first time I realized how much work goes into maintaining a house. I'm embarrassed to admit it, but I had to look up YouTube tutorials on how to clean and cook. A few weeks ago, I was ironing me and my son's clothes and told him that I want to teach him how to do this, as I don't want him falling into the same mistake I did and never learning this on his own. He said he doesn't want to, and I just said, he'll have to learn to do this at some point. He then said, quote, only failed men do stuff like this, and I won't be one of them. I stopped and looked up a bit bewildered and asked him to clarify. He said that it is his belief that this is a woman's job to do and that only simps do simple household chores. I tried to keep my composure as much as I could, but asked if he saw me as a simp, and he just shrugged. I feel like this is becoming a story example of how to scare people away from teenagers. Okay. OP, kudos to you for keeping your composure. I think I would have blown my top. Imagine you're trying to teach your son or your kid, anybody really, a very useful life lesson of, okay, let's iron some clothes, basic things that you'll need to know how to do to go about your life, right? As an adult. And he's just like, nah, that's simps work. I don't need that. I'm not a simp. I and I love how the son just kind of shrugged. And he means yes. When OP's asking, wait, do you think I'm a simp? And he's just like, eh. So the disrespect is so loud. OP, OP. Maybe any fathers listening can chime in, or mothers as well, any parents here. But what would you do in this situation? I I want to say I would keep my composure. I don't think I would. I'd probably snap really quickly and go, "What did you say? Who did you call a simp? What do you think is simp work?" Ah, I'm irritated, but let's see how OP's going to handle this. OP says, I tried to keep my composure as much as I could, but asked if he saw me as a simp, and he just shrugged. I told him that now he'll have to choose his next words very carefully. But I said that he will learn household work, whether he likes it or not. He again reiterated what he said, and I said, well, if you think this is a woman's job, it's time for you to live with a woman and to pack his bags and to go to his mom's house, as I will not have any of that Andrew Tate BS in my house. My son lives with me during the week as his school is only 5 minutes away, and his mom nearly 2 hours. He refused to make his bag, so I made it for him. He started seeing the gravity of my seriousness and tried to backtrack on his words, but I wasn't having any of it. He must have called his mom in the time I was packing, as she called me as well. She asked me, what's going on? And I told her what happened. Surprisingly, she's on my side and has just asked me to drop him off at hers, and she'll help teach him a lesson. It's been about 2 weeks now that he's lived with his mom, and she's been reinforcing the household chores on him. He's called me multiple times to apologize and asking me to come back. His mom and I agree that he's going to stick with this for a week or two after the holidays and make him commute to school and do lesser household chores. And then let him come back to me to reinforce the consequence of his belief. My friends that I spent Christmas with yesterday said I was rather hard. It was a move to uproot his life like this, and it was an a-hole thing to do. So now I'm questioning myself. Was I the a-hole here? So I have a few questions for OP. Before I answer are you the a-hole, are you the jerk, were you in the wrong? Why send him to his mom's place? I worry, depending on how OP's going about it or what his thought process was, if your son thinks that only women do household chores or only simps do it, and then your response is, okay, to your mom's place you go to do household chores, I somehow feel like the message may or may not be lost in translation somewhere down the line. Like, I think what OP's trying to do is, oh, if you're going to act like that, I'm kicking you out, but I don't want you to be homeless. So you're going to have to be more independent and responsible while you're at your mom's place because it's way farther away from your school. So you have that whole 2 hour commute instead of the 5 minute commute. And you're going to have to do all the stuff with your mom and experience life with your mom more. Like, is that the thinking? I'm kind of confused on how we went from we do not tolerate that type of thinking to now go live with your mom. I think that's where we're going. What do you think? OP's solution to this, like, let me ship the son off to the mom's place for 2 weeks so he can handle all the household chores there and live with his mom and have a more horrible commute to like feel the consequence of his actions. Like, that's what I think it is.
I think the logic here is to just make the son kind of have some consequences to his words, his actions.
Do you think that it's bad though? Like, do you think it sent the wrong message that he went, oh, well, now I'm going to send you off to your mom as a consequence of you saying only women do household chores. But now the son's going to be doing household chores at his mom's place.
I
Do you think
mean,
it's weird?
I think if you look at it that way, it might seem weird, but I don't believe that's the intent. I
Yeah,
think the intent is just for the son to have some responsibility
yeah,
to his, I guess, towards his actions.
I agree with you.
Make him pay the consequences.
I don't think he's an a-hole. Now, was it harsh over technically a few sentences to send your son away for 2 weeks? Yes, but I think it's warranted. Like, I think especially when kids are teens, and I think you're at a very impressionable age, and you think maybe certain things that aren't really helpful or true, I think you kind of need something stronger than just a little slap on the wrist to really hone in, hey, this is not cool. And I'm glad that they have this really healthy parenting style. I'm surprised. I don't see very many parents in general, much less on the internet, that actually have such a, despite being divorced, have such a healthy co parenting relationship. So kudos to you, OP, and your ex wife, because it seems like you guys have it together. I would say you were not too harsh. It was kind of funny, to be honest. I think it's kind of hilarious that this is how you find out that your son has been, I guess, thinking or having this belief. I would be okay, not mildly, but I'd be pretty offended. I think you kept your cool. You did what you had to do. You're very responsible, on point. I can only imagine if I had a kid and my kid did this. Mm-mm, mm-mm. I don't even know how you would correct this. Just, I guess I would try and have a conversation about it, understand where they're coming from. But then it's such a misguided belief that I don't even know where one would tackle it. Like, wait, so wait, what do you think now? Why do you think ironing is like a woman's thing only? Like, where did you like what were you watching? I feel like we were going down the whole rabbit hole. But there are a few edits. But before that, let's look at some of the comments. First comment from Any Fig. My mother taught my brother how to cook, clean, wash his clothes before going to university, and he hated it. But when he got to university, he was one of the very few who could do those things, and he helped teach others how to feed themselves and wash their clothes. Haha. Not the a hole. OP says, this was also in the back of my head on why I wanted him to learn. I'm a carpenter and never went to uni as my parents didn't allow it, but I want my son to have a chance and be able to handle himself if and when he does. OP has a very solid way of parenting, very solid way of guidance. I applaud that. Although interesting point the comment brought up about kids and how they get to university. Okay. So I remember my first year in college. Oh my goodness. Well, actually, I remember the first week very vividly because I remember first week, everyone's crying. I don't know if this is like a universal experience at college, away from home, or if this is just my college in particular. But I remember a lot of kids crying. Like men, women, like everybody was crying. And a lot of times it's from loneliness and also not knowing how to do basic things. And it's overwhelming. You're in a new environment, you're alone, you're away from home and people you know. There's all these strangers and you're sharing a living space a lot of times with complete strangers, I guess. And I think all that combined, people kind of start breaking down. But I mean, I think I've seen it all when I've seen people start crying as they're just tragically trying to work the laundry machine and just like sobbing, like grown guys just like crying. And I'm just like, is everyone here okay? People were not okay. So I think, Opie, you're doing your son a huge favor that he will hopefully someday realize because not everyone gets the opportunity to learn these skills from a parent or from a trusted adult. So I have to say, personally, I wish I learned more regular life skills, but I think it's a lesson that your son will hopefully learn that it ended up being for his own good in the end, hopefully. Any advice for young adults that think household chores are evil or horrible and unnecessary evil, maybe?
I think in general, people should learn kind of basic things and at least have experience doing that so that in case they need to do it, they're not completely lost.
Yeah. Did you know how to do all of that? Like, did you know how to take care of yourself when you started college?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
You didn't need anyone to teach you how to use the laundry machine or how to turn on the stove, how to cook ramen?
Absolutely not.
Impressive.
I
I
don't
s-
think that's impressive at all. I
oh,
think that's the basic knowledge that everyone should have.
you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised, honey. I've seen a lot of craziness. I've seen a lot of craziness. I remember seeing someone burn a whole pan by just boiling water. I don't know how they did it. I think they messed up boiling water. But yeah, not everybody. Another comment From international Texan, I teach teens. Since you're both on the same page about teaching them a lesson, I applaud you and points to you for recognizing it as a toxic Andrew T nonsense. From here on out, your young man makes his own lunch, does his own laundry, and takes more responsibility. No backsliding allowed. I would question based on your description if he's getting these ideas from his grandparents. Something to consider, not the a-hole. OP responds, I don't think he does, though I'm not sure. Neither my ex nor me prevent him from seeing them after the divorce, as me and my ex cut all ties with both our parents. But he never mentioned them, and they never contacted him either. He never liked going to either set of grandparents growing up, as he said granddad smells about my dad when he was about 6. Oh, that's an interesting point. So I'm very surprised though that OP coming from both OP and his ex-wife coming from super super I would say more conservative, maybe more traditional thinking families, and yet they both have a pretty I want to say balanced, open-minded way towards their parenting style. So I don't know. I don't know where your son would get these thoughts. Maybe honestly the internet, but who knows? Either way, I think I have to echo the comments here. Oh, Pete, you're not the a-hole, and good job on the parenting and how you're handling this with your ex-wife. Now, if you guys are enjoying the story so far and are excited to hear the next ones, don't forget to hit like on this video and subscribe to the channel. Or if you're listening to me on Spotify, don't forget to rate this podcast 5 stars, guys. It helps a lot. Bum, 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 bum. Now, I'm really excited for you guys to hear the next one. I picked this one and I was so proud of myself. I was thinking, oh, they're going to love this. So, this is our wow pick story. And our wow pick is just that a story that's a little bit kooky, a little bit chaotic, a little bit more so than the rest. And I thought you guys need to hear this. This one is from the subreddit AITH. I kicked my family off the Amazon plan. I love it. We're starting off strong. Opie says, so I've been paying for Prime for over 10 years now since I was 17. No one in my family has ever paid a single month, and each of them orders stuff every day. I haven't really minded until I started crunching numbers and I saw the accumulation total. As I saw that total, not a single one of them has ever thanked me or even wondered how they got packages so fast. And it wasn't until last week that I ordered some condoms and contraceptive pills that one of them made a remark while I visited, quote, oh, so when were you going to tell us that you got your girlfriend pregnant? The amount of shame and embarrassment soared within a second, almost made my blood boil. I have no idea how someone can say that to my face and think it was totally okay. Me being super nice and calm guy, I just laughed it off. That has stuck with me for so long, and today I finally decided to change my password and not tell them the new code. All of them are asking for the code, and the person who said that to me, I simply said, you have invaded my privacy and no one has ever asked to help with the payments. Get your own account. It's been a few hours and no response. I'm starting to feel bad about it, but I felt like it had to be done. Am I the a-hole? Okay, let's be honest here. You don't care whether or not we're going to say you're in the wrong or not. You just needed validation. You wanted to vent and you came to the right place. Welcome to the internet and welcome to the common people's judge, jury, and venting session. I would say, no, you're not the a-hole. Although I am very curious how and when they found out, because I feel like your family might have an Amazon addiction. You're telling me you changed the password and within like a few hours, people are already messaging you saying, okay, there's something wrong with the account. It doesn't work. Like, how often are they ordering? You said the accumulation total is pretty crazy and people like order like every day. I mean, privacy issue aside, perhaps your family also needs some help with the spending. So maybe you're kind of helping them indirectly by preventing some of the excessive money going to Amazon. But jokes aside, the audacity. I feel like you've been feeling some sort of way for a long time because you've been shouldering the Amazon payment plan. I get the frustration. But I find it really funny that, okay, this is the straw that broke the camel's back for you. Not only are they placing an order, but they looked through the orders, I guess, and then saw condoms and contraceptives. And I guess for whatever reason, knew that it was your order, maybe address or whatnot or name of the package. And then they have the audacity to tell you to your face in person, oh, so when are you going to tell us about your girlfriend's like pregnancy or whatever? Hello? What happened to hi, cousin, or hey, brother, or I don't know, like, hello, how have things been? So I noticed something weird with the Amazon orders. What's going on? No, they just went straight to, so you got your girlfriend pregnant? Just I don't know. Maybe some families are very open and joking like that. I just know for my family, it would not be a joking manner if anyone brought that topic up. It would be more like, we need an intervention. I have to say, OP, I'm really glad that you went the petty route and just went and changed the password without letting anyone know. Is it petty? Maybe. But is it satisfying? Immensely. Perhaps it may be considered an a-hole move. You might be a slight a-hole, but I feel like there's some justification because it seems like there's a lot of build of frustration and they've been disrespectful for a while. And this was just kind of the last straw for you. I'm voting not the a-hole. What do you think?
So I think there are a couple issues at hand here, right?
Yes.
The one is the Amazon account. I think it was just more or less pettiness and upsetness. I think
Yeah.
that could have been tackled separately.
No.
For example, for Amazon, you can create another household account that's part of the same plan.
Oh,
So that way the other people do not see any of your orders or anything like that. So
I didn't know
basically,
that.
they can
Okay.
create that and everyone else can be using that while you use the main account, which has no orders, I guess, or
That would make sense.
you only see the orders for that account. So that could be a simple solution. So I think on that regard, the OP is kind of the a-hole, but at the same time, I think it's his account as well, so he can
Technically do whatever he wants.
yeah,
Yeah.
do whatever he wants. Uh,
Wait, you're
I guess
telling
I think the issue at hand is there the comment, which I think is completely inappropriate, or
it came out of nowhere.
right, and especially then clearly they saw I think they saw the orders in the order history, and that's how they made the determination that that's what the OP was ordering. So
Not that there's anything to be embarrassed about practicing, your intimacy safely, OP, but I am feeling secondhand embarrassment for you to have your whole family member just bring it up in a normal conversation like that and spring it on you like surprise, we know about it. Like, that's so I feel like even if you're aware that your family member is doing this, unless, there's cause for concern, I would shut up about it. I would pretend I never saw someone in my family order something like this. I would just not say anything.
yeah,
Right?
I guess at the bottom of it, or to summarize, I think I would say that OP is not a hole for even changing the password or restricting access to the account.
No. It was sudden. It was a little petty, but I think you were right on the money in doing it. No, let's look at some of the comments. First comment from Pixie Ann. Not they whole, they can always get their own membership. Do any of your family members pay for anything regular for you, such as insurance, phone, or other memberships? Opie says, nope, I moved out a few years ago and I'm completely on my own. When I moved out, I stopped paying for everyone's phones too. This was the last thing I was still intertwined with. Ooh. Actually, OP's response kind of paints a slightly deeper picture into what's going on here. I get the feeling that OP, you're kind of the one that's I don't want to say the family wallet a little bit, but almost like the one that people depend on more. Because you are not only paying for everyone's like Amazon membership or for the family membership, I guess, you're also paying for everyone's phones up until a few years ago when you moved out, which is very nice of you. But I'm wondering if your family members may take it for granted that you pay for certain things for the house. And so maybe they feel more, I don't want to say entitled, but maybe more open or unaware about going into the details of the account, even if it's not polite. Maybe? Another comment from Advanced Pair. Yeah, not they all. I've had Amazon Prime since I was 18 and when I only paid $50 a year for being a student. My parents and sister use it, but we take turns paying for it every year. Your family is a bunch of mooches. I did not realize people felt so strongly about who's paying for the Amazon Prime subscription in their household. It's a thing.
Um,
It's serious.
I mean, it's pretty expensive nowadays as well. It's
It's definitely not 50 a year.
I think it's at
It's like 100
minimum
something,
like
right?
130.
I remember when
It
it
could
was
be
like
more by now.
99. Wasn't
Yeah.
it 99 at one point? I swear it was
Yeah.
$99. All the subscription services are raising their prices every year. Oh, at some point, I wouldn't be surprised if we hit for Amazon, hit like a 150 a year.
It could be that for all in. Could be
Ugh,
even more.
yikes. I hope they don't raise it in next year. Looking at the comments, so this story is pretty new. So no verdict, official verdict yet, but based on all the comments I'm seeing, not they hole. And I agree. I hope you guys enjoyed that one. It was a little funny for me because I'd never realized the heated arguments and debates people get over Amazon Prime subscriptions. Our next story is from a new subreddit we haven't seen before, subreddit Bridezillas. Am I the a-hole for not letting my brother's fiance wear white to my wedding? Okay, so I, 28-year-old female, just got married to my amazing husband, Jake, 30-year-old male. Oh, congrats, OP. The planning was stressful, but everything turned out beautiful, or at least it would have if not for the drama with my brother's fiance, Erica, 26-year-old female. Erica is one bold, loud woman. She's a type who loves pushing the envelope as far as it would go, and which typically is rather fun until she pushes it to your detriment. A month before my wedding, Erica sent me a text stating to give a heads up that she wanted to wear a white gown on my wedding day. According to her, she considered it a modern trend and added that since she would not attract more attention than the bride herself, it didn't matter. I was shocked. I told her tactfully but firmly that going to someone else's wedding in white is a serious faux pas. Erica shrugged off the comment and said, quote, it's just a color. You're not even in pure white. You're wearing ivory, which was true but not relevant in my mind. Wait, do you know the difference between ivory and pure white?
Yeah, different shade of white, right?
Have you seen it in person? Like, would you be able to tell if I like held up two different fabrics and was like, okay, which one is this, ivory or white?
I hope so.
So, fun thing is, when I was shopping for wedding dresses, guys, I had no idea that there were so many shades of white. Now, pure white is like, I guess just that, like the whitest, brightest white shade you can think of, like snow. That's how I envision it. And then ivory is more almost like I don't want to say champagne, but almost like an off white. Like it's more like subtle white, if that makes sense. Either way, to wedding guests, I don't think it matters that much. Like wedding guests typically will not care that much. But what they will notice is not the shade of white that the bride is wearing, but how many people are wearing white. Um, Erica. Oh my gosh. Brother's fiance is so out of line. I am so pissed for you. You're telling me, okay, we've had a few stories before where someone shows up in white unexpectedly or by accident or because they don't know better or some other hidden agenda, right? But kudos to brother's fiance in a way because her audacity is astounding. You're telling me not only is she planning on wearing white, but it's a white gown and she gave the bride a call to give her a heads up. Like, by the way, this is what I'm wearing. Not open for discussion. Just letting you know. Thanks. Uh, where do these people come from? The audacity is crazy to me. But let's see. Opie says, I tried to let it go, thinking perhaps she was playing a game with me. But then a week before the wedding, my mom sent me a photo of Erica's dress. It wasn't just white, it was floor length, lacy, and absolutely bridal. I called Erica immediately and told her she needed to find something else to wear or she wouldn't be allowed in. She said I was being insecure and that it's 2024. Women should be able to wear what they want. Later, my brother called me, Chris, 29-year-old male, begging to let it go. He said Erica thought she was targeted and that she was in an uproar because I was ruining her experience. He said she had already spent a lot on the dress and that by now it's too late to get another one. In this case, I just stood firm and said, if she shows up in that dress, she doesn't come in. OP, I'm really hoping you stand your ground because this is crazy. First off, I hate the whole BS about, oh no, it's a week before the wedding. There's no time to get a dress. What a load of BS. Okay, let me tell you guys something. Be real. You can go to the mall, you can go on Amazon and get prime shipping, overnight shipping if you really need to get a freaking dress. Okay? Like there isn't such a dress shortage that, oh, there's no way I can get a dress in time. No, it might not be a dress that you would, be your top choice, but you can definitely wear something suitable for a wedding and get that within a week prior to the wedding. It's not recommended, but it can be done and it has been done. And then the second off, oh, you know what bugs me? When people use, oh, it's 2024, women's rights and, oh, girls support girls. Okay, I agree with that. Yeah, girls support girls. But what does this have to do with it? Excuse me? She's saying, oh, Opie, you're insecure and that's why you don't want me wearing a whole lacy white bridal gown to your wedding. That's what it is. This is all in your mind. You're just insecure. But you should know that I should be able to wear whatever I want. I'm like, yeah, but in certain places, right? There's a certain attire and a certain expectation to wear a certain type of outfit depending on the circumstance and event. I hate that she's using the whole women should be able to, yes, women should be able to wear, but at weddings, only the bride should be wearing white or a bridal dress. Now, Opie says Erica came out on the wedding day dressed in white. My stomach was sinking at this point, but I had already warned my wedding coordinator of the potential situation. The wedding coordinator caught Erica at the door and said that either she changes out of that or get gone. Erica had a total huge fit in front of my guests, screaming that she's a bridezilla and jealous of her confidence. Chris stepped in, and that's how they both bailed. Now my family's literally torn apart. My parents feel that Erica had overreached, but my brother Chris says I humiliated them in public. Many of my other relatives go so far as to state that I overreacted, that I should have kept quiet for harmony's sake. It's been 2 weeks and Chris is not talking to me. Erica has endured passive aggressive comments everywhere on social media about the insecure brides and toxic wedding culture. Sometimes I think I must have been an idiot for even thinking twice about this, and I should have just let her have the stupid dress. So, am I the a-hole? Sometimes stupid actions require stupid consequences. I don't know. This is one of those. I don't know. Like Erica was playing, wait, what is the correct phrase for this? Wait, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. I think this is one of them. Erica's the ultimate winner here when it comes to just being the worst and most obnoxious guest ever. And especially going as the plus one of the brother of the bride. I mean, I guess the one silver lining for OP here is that Erica gave her a heads up for sure and advance notice so that she could prepare for it. I like that OP stood her ground. I don't think I don't think you went too far. I think you did exactly what was appropriate for the situation. And you know what? Any friends or families or even your brother who's saying you went too far and you should have kept the peace, Erica didn't keep the peace. So why do you need to be the so-called bigger person to keep the harmony when Erica's the one bringing all the problems? I think with people like Erica, sometimes people won't learn the lesson, when you're being nice and gentle about it. Some people need a really harsh stand to understand that, no, that's not okay. And Opie, I think you reacted appropriately. It's your wedding day and you shouldn't have even been worried about this. So I feel really bad that this happened. And I hope it didn't ruin your day otherwise. What are your thoughts?
Erica sucks.
It can be summed up.
Yeah.
Sometimes I have a hard time believing that some of these people exist. But we've all met them. So we know people like Erica do. I just don't understand how someone could be so annoyingly brave about something like this. I mean, wouldn't you feel embarrassed? I'd be so embarrassed if not only if I brought up, oh, hey, I want to wear this to your wedding, and then the bride's like, oh, no, don't wear that. Already, I would feel some sort of embarrassment, like, oh, shoot, I picked a bad choice. Like, I'm not going to pick something like this again. And over here, like, I just see Erica like, it's okay. You're just insecure. Get over it. It's 2024. You'll be fine. Like, is she trying to gaslight the bride into being okay with this? Like, I don't understand. So weird. Oh, you know what Erica gives off the vibes of? A pick me. She wants the spotlight on her, and OP, like, you stood your ground. So thankfully, you blocked Erica out. If you didn't do that, I have a feeling Erica would have shown up or tried to like sneak in anyway. So I'm glad you told your coordinator what to do. And you know what? I would go low contact with your brother. I cannot believe he's the one throwing a tantrum over this when his fiance and his guests almost ruined your wedding day. Let's see what the comments say. First comment, oh, honey, let them bitch and moan and make even greater fools of themselves. What a bunch of weirdos. Another comment, and when they get married, wear a beautiful white dress, but don't tell them before. And let's see a real bridezilla in action. She'll lose her. Oh, you guys are so devious. The comments are, oh, that's so devious. See, part of me, the realistic side of me is saying, no, guys, we cannot return the favor as much as we would really like to. And no matter how much it's deserved. But then the other side of me is like, okay, but what if? Okay, but what if? Technically, it would be karma. Now, this is not to say that I'm encouraging any of you guys to go about on these petty revenges, okay? It's just mentally, it's a nice idea to think about. But I think it would cause more problems in the long run. Another comment from Blue Topaz, you set clear boundaries. They asked twice and you firmly said no. You told them what the consequences would be if she wore it. They chose not to listen and therefore need to live with the consequences. They then acted like toddlers having a tantrum. Not they'll tell anyone who asks exactly this. Yep, took the words right out of my mouth. Let's see if OP has an update on this. I'm very curious. Hopefully she has some. Oh, I mean, it's only 3 days old. So, pretty new story. No updates yet, but hopefully OP will provide one, maybe saying that her wedding went really nicely and went well. And she didn't let Erica get her down on the big day. So, kudos to you, OP, for handling it with grace and a lot of patience, because I think I would have flipped out far earlier than just at the wedding. Our last story is from the subreddit AITH. Am I the hole for telling my husband's friend to stop calling me by his ex-wife's name? Ew, that's a little awkward. Now, I'm wondering, based on the phrasing, is it that husband's friend keeps calling OP by the friend's ex-wife name? Because that's kind of weird. Or is it by her husband's ex-wife's name? But let's see. OP says, my husband, 35-year-old male, and I, 32-year-old female, have been married for 2 years, and everything's been great, except for his best friend, Jake, 36-year-old male. Jake is nice enough most of the time, but he has this habit of calling me by my husband's ex-wife's name, Laura. Laura and my husband divorced 5 years ago, long before I was in the picture. I've never met her, but from what I understand, Jake was very close to her. My husband says Jake just slips up sometimes because he's known Laura for years. The first time it happened, I let it go. The second and third times, I corrected him politely, but it kept happening, and now it feels deliberate. For example, we were at dinner recently, and Jake called me Laura 3 times in one evening. Each time I corrected him, and he just laughed it off, saying, old habits die hard. Finally, I snapped and told Jake, my name is my name, not Laura, and if you can't respect that, maybe you shouldn't come around anymore. He looked shocked, and my husband told me later that I embarrassed Jake in front of everyone. Now Jake is saying I overreacted and that it was an innocent mistake, but I'm not so sure. My husband's torn. He understands why I'm upset, but he thinks I should have handled it more privately. Am I the jerk for calling Jake out in public? Usually I end stories on a happy note, guys. I don't know what I was thinking because I feel like we're ending this episode on fire. The friend needs to go. Honestly, based on the husband's reaction, this might sound harsh. The husband needs to go. I, what? I get accidentally calling someone by a different name once, maybe twice. But you're telling me, Opie, you've been married to your man for 2 years. 2 years. And the friend keeps on doing this? I would think it's intentional. Is this some weird way? Is the best friend somehow on the ex-wife's side of the divorce or something like that? Like, there is something bizarre going on. Because uh, unless OP, your name is Lore, and so maybe the friend keeps mistaking as Laura. Like, but even then, how do you mispronounce someone's name this badly? I don't get it. Explain this like thinking to me. Have you ever messed up someone's name this badly? Or like called someone by the wrong name?
I likely have, probably. Probably have done it at some point. I can't recall when.
But this many times?
Definitely not. I think at that point, if you are not getting the hint or you cannot, I guess, kind of learn from that mistake, then I don't know. That's just, there are only two ways you can take it. Like, one way is like you don't care enough
Yeah.
about the person or to make an effort to not do it again, or next one is you kind of you're doing it intentionally.
I okay, maybe I'm thinking too much. I think this is intentional. It almost okay, I've heard of relationships and I've seen relationships where when a couple breaks up, sometimes, if they've been together for a while, they tend to have a similar group of friends, right? Or the same circle of friends. And so then the friends will feel compelled to pick a side, right? So some people will maybe hang out with the wife more after the divorce, or some will pick the husband more after divorce, or they will feel some sort of way and it will carry into their future interactions with either person. I I really feel like this best friend, especially as a best friend, that he's calling OP the new wife, like the wife, I should say, the wife by the wrong name consistently. And he's a best friend. Like he's not just some acquaintance or some distant relative that you see once in a blue moon, right? In the relationship. The fact that your husband's best friend keeps saying this, there must be something going on. Like either there's an inside joke that's happening that you're not part of, or he's just on the ex-wife's side and he just doesn't like you. Because I don't know how to see this other than an act of disrespect. It's so rude. I get once or twice, and to call someone by like a mistaken name, but specifically to call them by the mistaken name of your husband's ex? No, girl, no. And also, by the way, why doesn't your husband have your back? I feel like this is the hill I will die on. When it comes to a couple, you guys should have each other's backs and be on the same page on most, the important things. And this is one of them. What do you mean your husband saying, "Oh, you embarrassed Jake. Like you overreacted, babe. You shouldn't have done that." What do you mean? I think you underreacted. You let this fly for so long. I mean, after the first two times, I would have said, "Hey, Jake." Or should I say Jonathan or Johnny Boy? How would you feel if I just called you by that name every, like, I don't know, every single time? Like, I would start playing the game of, "Oh, okay, you can't remember my name? Alrighty, Jake. Oh, Jack." Or was it Johnny, Jonathan, Jonas? Jake's name, you could do a lot with that. There's a lot of like close-ish names. I would just let all those names rip. I would start looking up like that's so petty. I started looking up J names and then I would keep them in my repertoire to let it like fly. Christmas, oh, if you guys are doing like friend Christmas exchanges, on his present, I wouldn't say Jake. It would say Johnny. He's a Johnny now or Jack. I would be so mad because why doesn't this guy just call you by the right name? And getting back to the husband, okay, the fact that a husband is not on your side, yeah, I think there's something else going on. There's some inside joke you're not part of, OP. Am I reading too much into this? I feel like that's it. This doesn't seem so innocent. Like, I understand that maybe the husband is now stuck between, feels like he's, in the middle between your spat with Jake, but it really should be a spat between you, OP, and your husband versus Jake. Because why isn't husband taking more of an offense to this? If someone called M, my fiance here, or Mr. Deep Voice, as you guys call him behind the camera, if someone called M by like, I don't know, Matt, or like just deliberately a wrong name all the time, especially one of my best girlfriends, I would feel some sort of way. I'd pull them aside and I'd say, "Hey, do we have a problem or what's going on here? Or did you, suffer from some sudden condition in which you have forgotten how to remember names? Like, girl, what is going on?"
Right. So I guess the question at hand is, did the OP handle it correctly by calling it out,
Yes.
calling Jake out in front of everyone?
Yes.
Or she should have maybe pulled him aside and had a conversation.
Nah. Mm-mm. I think with transgressions like this, because it's so on purpose and so intentional, so glaringly obvious, I don't think it deserves the respect of behind closed doors. I think it's something that should be addressed well, maybe not in quote unquote public, but in the setting of when it happens. Because I feel like even now, like after OP called it out, afterwards, Jake, the best friend, is saying, "Oh, you overreacted. It was just an innocent mistake. I didn't mean it." Like he's already trying to change the narrative. So I feel like having more people witness it when you're calling it out is better in this case. I'm so mad at the husband. I don't know who I'm more mad at, Jake, the best friend, or the husband. I think I'm more mad at the husband though, because the best friend could be a complete idiot. And I don't know. He just has weird issues with the wife, with OP. But the husband has a responsibility to set his best friend straight. Like, come on, what are you doing, dude? OP, I think you did well. And I don't even think OP was even rude. She said, look, my name is this, not Laura. And if you can't respect it, don't come around. I think she was just straightforward about it. And some people take straightforwardness or bluntness as like something super aggressive, which in this case, I don't think it is. Do you think she was being too aggressive?
I mean, I think the Jake's intent is what would make it this okay or not. And in any case, I'm leaning towards this being okay, anyways.
But like you mean OP's reaction to it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. The verdict's in. I'm calling it. Not the a-hole OP, but let's see what some of the comments are saying. First comment, you've tried handling it politely. Now it's time to embarrass him. Quote, wow, dude, Laura again? Do you have a crush on her or something? Or, quote, I'm honestly worried about your mental health. Early Alzheimer's, maybe? Or, quote, were you thinking about Laura again? Ooh. See, I am too tame, guys. I was thinking, okay, maybe a way to get back at Jake would just be a simple way to call him by a wrong name as well. But that's so, you know what? That's so preschool. This is where it's at. Honestly, though, comments raise an interesting question. Is Jake secretly obsessed with your husband's ex wife? Is your husband's best friend secretly obsessed with your husband's ex? That is the real question here, right? Maybe because I mean, the name stuck into his mind so much that he can't even remember this one person that he meets all the time's names and keeps miscalling it. So maybe he's seeing her in his dreams, or he's daydreaming about her so much that the name keeps flying out. I don't know. Another comment, this, and say to hubby, quote, I think Jake had a crush on your ex to really drive it home. Lol. Now hubby might look at Jake funny. Comments I have been so devious, guys. So full of so many little plots. You guys are so good. Another comment, not they, but your husband needs to correct Jake by repetition, loudness level, or putting in a timeout by refusing to hang out if he can't get it right. He's letting Jake be rude to you. It needs to stop. Agree. I agree with the comment here that husband is the problem here. But what's funny is, why does it feel like you guys are talking about, or at least the comments are talking about Jake as if he's a preschooler? He needs to be corrected by repetition, loudness level, or putting in a timeout from hangouts. Like, this is a grown man. Oh my gosh, I just checked the ages again. Husband and OP are in their 30s, and Jake is freaking 36. A 36-year-old grown man cannot handle himself? Embarrassing. Embarrassing. Honestly, if Jake was my best friend, I'd be embarrassed by association, even if he wasn't doing this to me or my fiance. I would literally say something like, dude, it's not cool. Please stop doing this. I'm getting secondhand cringe from watching you do this all the time. You know what? Not only is husband not defending you, OP, but he's not even a good friend. A good friend would not let your own best friend be this embarrassing in public or in any capacity. Husband kind of sucks, OP, I'm just saying. And his best friend. Like, ugh, kind of sucks. Now, I'm not going to say to break up or anything like that, but I do think your husband should step in and have a conversation with Jake if he's not aware of the situation or the seriousness of the situation already. But overall, that's my verdict. And I have to say, I agree with the comments here. I feel like today's stories have left me with a sense of satisfaction because all the OPs stood their ground. And while not all of them were petty, I think many of them were very patient and tried to react appropriately. You know, I think it was satisfying to see people stand up for themselves. And it's a fun way for us to get into the new year. So if you guys enjoyed these stories, don't forget to like this video and hit subscribe, guys. And I'll see you guys very soon. Oh, and if you're listening to me on Spotify, don't forget to rate me 5 stars. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.